to talk a bit about some of my life experiences that I have found to be helpful, and I wanted to share it with all of you to potentially offer some help and hope and support to all of us here. And I jotted down a few notes, and if I had to phrase it in a nutshell here, it's try not to be. That's what I'm going to refer to this as. So, number one, try not to be afraid of taking risks in your life, because somehow or another they seem to, at least for me, and I hope for you, bring you one step closer towards the authentic you. And I can share in my life some risks that I took that in hindsight have made an enormous difference in my growth and who I am today. When I was younger, in college, I took a semester abroad to Florence, Italy, to study and to learn the language. And while I was very excited about doing that, I was also terrified because this was going to be my very first venture away from home, quite a distance, didn't know the language. I knew I had a few relatives there, but I was basically on my own. And I must say that that turned out to be one of the grandest experiences of my life and to my growth. And that occurred well over 40 years ago. And to this day, well, first of all, I did learn Italian, and I did meet people I never ever would have met before. And I do continue to have relations with several of those people to this day, where they visit me and I visit them. Some are blood relatives, some are friends, and I just can't imagine how it just would have been different had I not taken that risk. Another big, enormous risk I took was about 10 years after that, and that was the risk first for myself and then to parents and then family, but the risk of coming out as a lesbian. This was probably slightly before it became fashionable. It was really, really hard, terrifying. When I came out to myself, the experience was kind of like jumping out of an airplane, and I couldn't quite find the strength to my parachute, but then I did. And I can't imagine now, again, years later, if I had not done that, I don't even think I'd be anywhere remotely who I am today. And because of that experience and all the growth and searching and pain and joy and love that it brought me, it actually led me to my career to become a psychotherapist. That was a world unknown to me. And to help me to come out, I sought out the services of a counselor or two for support because it was an overwhelming experience. I cannot tell you, because of taking that risk, how grateful I am today. I am married to the woman of my dreams, and only because of taking that risk. And obviously, doing this talk is taking another risk, but I feel I have at least my father by my side, and that is a joyous experience to be doing this with him by my side, and leading to further growth. And I'll see what that is. Also, try not to be afraid of making mistakes. My experience in life has been that most of my mistakes actually have turned out to be some of my most important ways of learning in my life. I can share what felt like gigantic mistake I made way back when I was just starting to come out, and I was convinced, I was in a class and I was absolutely convinced that this gal and I were preparing for the final exam, and I convinced myself that she was interested in me. I knew I was interested in her. There was no discussion about that. And I actually, towards the end of our study, and here comes the final, asked if she'd like to go out on a date, and it turned out she was not at all interested, or gay, and I was absolutely mortified. And then I had to see her the next day at the exam. At any rate, the beauty that came out of making that mistake was that I knew I had to position myself where the odds would be better. So I did not make that mistake again. So it really propelled me into letting down my guard and entering the gay community and meeting people, meeting new people, new friends, and it just allowed me to thrive. And I'm very grateful for that mistake and others. I also wanted to say, this one's tough, it has been for me, but try not to be afraid of people who maybe disagree with you or even can become attacking and hostile. And this has been a really tough one for me. I will share that in my life, I have two siblings, they're both brothers, and my oldest brother is without a doubt in my life up until this point, one of the most difficult relationships of my entire life. I find it hard to imagine that someone else would come along and surpass him. But, you know, when I look back at things and continue, this goes on to this day with him. Last week, the family, the extended family, we were all the way upstate in the Catskills at this resort together, celebrating. We've been going up there for over 60 years together. And then it's a beautiful extended family. And one by one, I started hearing from people that, I guess this is a compliment, I guess, but my brother was telling people that, referring to me as being crazy because I talk to dead people. So I will just take that as a compliment. Now, at first I went through my jitters and getting angry and upset and all this, but you know what? I'm better at letting it go now. I've had a lot of practice with this. And honestly, I think thanks to this brother that I have grown in leaps and bounds, because I have been put in situations that I never would have gotten in otherwise for my growth, for my development, to seek out people that that are supportive, that are more loving. And this also took a long, long time for me to accept the loss of not wanting to communicate with a sibling any longer, and that the hurt of having a sibling treat me more, I feel more as an enemy than a sibling. But it, even on some, I believe, our darkest hours, there potentially comes some benefit, some joy, some growth, some evolution. Maybe not right then, but at some point in our lives, it helps us to, or can help us to, expand and become more of who we were meant to be. I'd like to also add, trying not to be afraid of being alone. Because sometimes when we do have to make a declaration of who we are, that does mean that certain people will fall off the path. But I think the most important thing is we are on our correct path with the correct people. And I also have come to believe, and by the grace of God, I made a path to be here. And I have come to understand and sincerely believe that we're really never alone. I now understand that spirit is just one breath away. So, to summarize this, I look at all of these life experiences, and I have started out life being very strong and capable in my physicality. I was, as a kid, gifted with being an athlete, so that kind of came naturally to me. Then as I got older, I valued the study and learning and researching and develop my intellectual cognitive abilities. And then with the struggle of coming out, especially, I evolved my heart in a way that I could do what brings me the most joy, which is helping others. Being alone, I kind of like to be alone here and there at this point. I have just kind of grown into that role. That is just fine. And I put all of these together and I think of now where I am, which is the soul and the evolution. And maybe if I had not had all these challenges and beautiful times, I would not appreciate what I appreciate today, which is the beauty of the soul and what it means. I read recently, this might be written by Darren Britton, I don't remember, but it meant something to me. And it was, if I can remember this right now, we are not, I believe it's something like this, we are not a body with a soul, we are souls with a body. And that just provides an enormous amount of light and hope and belief and love. And so all of these things put together, I will just say, I know Leslie is the primary gardener amongst us, but I look at all of this and refer to myself now as a soul gardener, growing and pulling out weeds if I need to pull them out, and nourishing the soul and my experiences. And going forward, I look forward to what life delivers, and enjoying my remaining days here. So I leave you with all of that. I wish it for all of you from my heart, that if you are ever feeling down and out or alone or troubled, please, I wish for you that you continue to believe in yourselves and your beauty, and know that you're never alone. You're just one breath away from spirit. Thank you.